Shabbat Kingdom Yakar, Hine Matovu Manai. Shabbat Kingdom Yakar, Hine Matovi Ne Mato. Na 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 na. Hine Matovi Ne Mato. Na 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 na. Hine Matovu Manai. Shabbat Kingdom Yakar, Hine Matovu Manai. Shabbat Kingdom Yakar. So Rafa, here you are this afternoon leading us in our Shabbat afternoon service. And that really is the purpose of us being here. It's for you to lead us as a congregation, as a community, both the folks who are here and the folks who are online. Welcome to the folks online and welcome to the folks here. Your mission in the next 90 minutes is to connect in a profound way to something bigger than yourself. And by the way, Rafa's mission is everybody's mission. Can you connect, Rafa, to the people in this room? Really connect. Can you connect to your parents on either side of you? Can you connect to your ancestors, to the Torah, to God, to your soul? And as I let you know right before we started, the best way to do it, and the only real way to do it, is to do everything that you can with emet, with truth. Okay? Authentically, you pray with truth, you teach with truth, you put your hands out with truth. That's the way you're going to do this. And for all of us, and this is one of the beautiful things about Judaism, here we have this ceremony where we're empowering someone who's barely a teenager, right, to lead everybody, but also to realize that there's more to the world than just I or you, that there is a very noble we, a we that started 4,000 years ago with a common history, and we believe moving forward with a common destiny. So if you don't know Rafa, there he is, Rafa Sadowitz. I would ask everyone to turn to the people around you and wave, say Shabbat Shalom, say hi, introduce yourself, okay? Let's take a second. If you're online, go ahead and give us a shout out. Let us know who you are and what you're doing. Shabbat Kingdom Yakar, Hine Matovu Manai. Shabbat Kingdom Yakar, Hine Matovi Ne Mato. Ya na 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 na. Hine Matovi Ne Mato. Ya na 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 na. Here we go. Hine Matovu Manai. Shabbat Kingdom Yakar. Hine Matovu Manai. Shabbat Kingdom Yakar. So Rafa, along the way today, there are cornerstones and signposts of this rite of passage, the rite of passage which is you going from being a Jewish boy to a Jewish man all in 90 minutes, abracadabra, it's going to happen like that. One of the ways that we Jews recognize you as a young man in the community because of this public ceremony and the words you're going to chant and share is the presentation of the talit. So according to our tradition, the day before the bar mitzvah, the week before, the month before, you're actually not allowed to publicly wear your talis because you're a kid. But today, as a sign of you entering into Jewish adulthood, you are presented the talit by your parents, and the idea is that you wear it for religious occasions throughout your adult life, starting today. So, Gary and Vonda, proud parents, you're going to look on page 5, and you can pick up those handheld mics to your left, Vonda. You may have to click them on. Okay. In the presentation of the Talit, you'll see these paragraphs on page 5. Will you pray them?
The English first.
Go ahead.
Yes.
As this talit is draped around your shoulders, may the voices of the generations speak to you. May you know that there is a people, a rich heritage to which you belong, a sacred place from which you are connected to all who dwell on earth. As you are embraced in the folds of this talit, so too are you wrapped in the loving embrace of your family, community, and this holy congregation. May the simplest of garments always be for you a symbol
of God's abiding
and sheltering presence. As you recite the blessing and wrap yourself in this talit, we proudly watch and celebrate with you as you accept your place in the chain of our tradition.
Right. Now, Rafa, you're going to read the Talit blessing on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kichanu b'mitzvotav v'tivanu lehit atef batiti.
We all say amen. Okay, so proud parents are now going to drape the Talit around you. Okay, and your arms are going to go to the outside. Rafa, give it a hug. Your arms go to the outside. There you go. There you go. And I'm going to have your siblings pop up right next to you. So siblings, come on up for a second. Friends, we know that families and communities come together for all sorts of reasons, some of them sad. This one, super, super happy, joyous. So I'm going to ask Rafa that your family put their arms around each other and around you. When we Jews know that we are experiencing a certain type of time, a sacred type of time, that we sing our Shehechianu prayer. Literally, thank you, God, for this moment in time, that we're here, that we're breathing, that we're together. May we have these types of moments of holiness again and again and again. Page 5, Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu l'zman hazeh. Amen.
Siblings can have a seat. Okay, and Rafa, you're going to continue on page 6, leading us on page 6.
God, be with me on this occasion of my bar mitzvah. Help me make meaningful the covenant you now establish with me. Sustain me with a sense of holiness. Inspire in me a desire to be special. I do not ask that you make my life easy, resolve my problems, map out the directions of my life. I ask only that you strengthen within me the desire to mold and shape my life in accordance with your will. In this hour of my bar mitzvah, I invoke your blessings upon my parents and friends and all who have loved and cared for me and have brought me to this time of gladness. Give them your joy and fulfillment in my growth and my achievement. You who turn the hearts of children to their parents and the hearts of parents to their children.
Amen.
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 Rafa, on page 13, you're going to lead us responsively. So the congregation is going to respond with the italic part, and you're going to lead us with the bold print.
May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for fellowship.
May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride.
May
Its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet.
May it be too high to admit indifference, selfishness, and harshness.
May this synagogue be for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. We rise for Baruch Hu on page 15.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
We bow. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach Le'olam Vaed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach Le'olam Vaed. If you turn to your inside front cover, you'll find Ma'ariv Aravim. Rafa, Ma'ariv Aravim is this prayer that we say as night begins to come, as the evening begins to come, because of course the Jewish day starts at night. Vayi Erev, Vayi Boker, Yom Echad. What this prayer intends to reinforce with us is that each day that we exist, we can recreate ourselves anew. We can by what we decide to put out there in the world, how we think, how we act, how we treat others, what we care about, what we prioritize, that we can change every tomorrow and we are not mired in what happened yesterday or the day before or the year before. We have a chance to be partners with God and creating the world the way that it ought to be, not just how it is. Ma'ariv Aravim, inside cover.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim b'chochma poteach she'arim uvitvuna meshane itim umachalif et hazmanim sader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Bore yom v'layla golel or mipne choshech v'choshech mipne or. Uma'avir yom umavi layla umavdil ben yom uvein layla Adonai tzevaot shmo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. And on page 16, Rafa, you're going to lead us in Ahava Rabbah. This talks about God's abundant love for us. And apropos your Torah portion and what you're going to be talking about later, the idea here is that we Jews have a unique, special relationship with God, but that doesn't preclude God having a unique, special relationship with other peoples as well. So, Gary and Vonda, you've got 3 amazing children. Each of them, I assume, are different from the others. 4. Even better. 4 amazing children. Yeah, 4, right. I see that. 4 amazing children. So each different from the others, right? Each one you have an amazing, unique relationship with, and each one you love to the moon and back. So the love that you have for one does not preclude at all the love that you have for the other 3. You are capable of having that type of intense, amazing relationship with deep, deep, altruistic love for every single one of your kids. So too, say our rabbis, that's the way it is with God and us, as individuals and as a people. Ahava Rabbah, page 16.
Ahava Rabbah Ahavtanu, Adonai Eloheinu chemla gdola vitera chamalta aleinu. Ba'avur avotenu ve'imotenu. Shabbathu v'cha vatlamdem chukei chayim ken techanenu utlamdenu. Hamrachem rachem aleinu. V'ten bilbenu l'havim ulhasosikol lishmoa lilmod ulelamed lishmor vela'asot ulkayem et kol divrei Talmud Toratecha be'ahava. Baruch atah Adonai habocher ba'amo Yisrael ba'ahava.
Amen. Amen. We all feel our feet on the floor, getting ready for our Shema. Hands over our eyes, page 18.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. Rafa, the second part of the Shema is the V'ahavta on page 18. The V'ahavta is a really interesting prayer. It's heady and it's hearty. Okay? So the question that's essentially asked in the prayer is, when is it that we are supposed to be our very best selves, our aspirational selves? When is it are we supposed to be God-oriented? When is it are we supposed to sort of raise up the best of our Judaism as we live our lives? And the answer that's given at first seems like a pretty good answer. Well, when you sit down and when you stand up and when you're at home and when you're on the way. In other words, always. Okay, well, it's very hard to do anything meaningful and mindfully always. Very, very hard. So I want you to do something with me, and everybody can join along. We're going to take a nice deep breath together. In and out. One more. And out. So Rafa, we just did something together that you literally have been doing every second that you've been living since the moment you were born. But most of the time, we just sort of take it for granted. Most of the time, we just kind of go on with our lives. We don't think about it. So being mindful of something, intentional of something, changes its composition, right? And that breath is not just breath. It makes your blood circulate. It allows you to strive and love and try, right? To change, to connect. All of that with that breath. So the V'ahavta is this prayer that essentially says that it's a reminder that we have reminders. A reminder that we have reminders. The mezuzah on your door, the Judaica in your home, your synagogue, Davis, right? Jewish things that pop up in your life, whether it's happenstance or intentionally, remind you that you can be more. You can be more, and we can be more. A reminder about reminders for our best aspirational self. V'ahavta, page 18.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'lechtecha b'derech u'shoftecha b'kumecha u'shartam leot al yadecha והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, ובטבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיהם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
I'd like to call up Tamara and David Greenberg to our microphone in the front to lead us in Geulah, page 19.
Adonai, our God, you took us out of slavery in Egypt. You made us free.
Together, you were in the courage with which we overcame 40 years of desert wandering.
Even today, you are in the hope that, like a beam of light, brightens the darkness of suffering and despair.
You are in the love that creates, protects, forgives.
Standing at the sea, we felt your goodness and your love. And we sang a new song to you, and still today we sing that song.
We praise you, Adonai, Redeemer of Israel. Back inside cover for the evening Michamocha.
We're going to sing that one more time because it's only online. Here we go. ונאמר כי בארוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני
Ubarak Shemo.
גאל ישראל.
Amen. We join in singing what the Israelites proclaimed after they had successfully crossed the sea. And we find in their redemption the strength to seek our own. This struggle carries us into the Amidah, a prayer of becoming, of transformation, of divine human partnership that brings grace into our lives and into our world. We rise for our Amidah, or standing prayer, on page 21.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufia tehillatech. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, V'Hanora, El וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו ואהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מחיה חיים וחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לישני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה.
ולאמנת לך חיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל.
I'd like to invite up Leslie Laurie and Robin Kammerer on page 23 to lead us in our responsive prayer.
Many are the ways of holiness, varied are its paths.
There's holiness when we strive to be true to the best we know.
There is holiness when we are kind to others.
There's holiness when we strive for harmony in all of our relationships.
There is holiness when people of different backgrounds work together for a common future.
There's holiness when people seek justice and struggle for righteousness.
There is holiness when people create lasting poetry or song or philosophy.
There's holiness when we forget what divides us and remember what unites us.
Holy, holy, holy is Adonai our God.
Page 24, Kedusha.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב היה נביאך, וקרא זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד לך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד לך. ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש. בשבחך אלוהינו, בפינו לא ימות, לא ימות לעולם ועד. Here comes your part. לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד לך.
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור, נגיד גדול לך. כי המלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, גדול וקדוש אתה. כי המלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, גדול וקדוש אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך שמו.
האל
be seated. Rafa, will you lead us responsively on page 25?
From of old, the Jewish people have seen Shabbat as a unique gift, a token of its covenant with God.
Shabbat is the most cherished creation of the Jewish spirit and mirrors the essence of the Jewish soul.
Shabbat has never been merely a day of rest from labor. It has always been a break in the routine of everyday life.
Shabbat is a symbol of liberation and triumph, of the holy over the profane, of spirit over matter.
In every age, Shabbat afforded the Jew a sacred retreat, a haven of safety, a fountain of new strength and perpetual renewal.
Shabbat nurtures family life in love and harmony. A home at peace welcomes Shabbat with joy.
Shabbat is part of nature's design, the very purpose of creation. All that was created attained its fulfillment in Shabbat.
Shabbat is our hope, the calm haven where all the weary find rest. With the coming of Shabbat, redemption and peace enter the world. Yismechu, page 26. Shomrei, 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 Shabbat Lechorek, Oneg Shabbat. Yismechu, Malchutecha, Shomrei, 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 Shabbat Lechorek, Oneg Shabbat. Yismechu, Malchutecha, Shomrei, 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 Shabbat Lechorek, Oneg Shabbat. Yismechu, Malchutecha, Shomrei, 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 Shabbat Lechorek, Oneg Shabbat. Yismechu, Malchutecha, Shomrei, 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 Shabbat Lechorek, Oneg Shabbat. Yismechu, Malchutecha, Shomrei, 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 Shabbat Lechorek, Oneg Shabbat. Yismechu, Malchutecha, Shomrei, 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 Shabbat Lechorek, Oneg Shabbat. Yismechu, Malchutecha, Shomrei, 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 Shabbat Lechorek, Oneg Shabbat. Dana Henry and Arlene Holliday, will you come on up and lead us on page 27?
Our world is full of wonders and miracles, but all it takes is one little hand placed before our eyes, and we see nothing.
But miracles are all around us and within us. We are each walking miracles.
When we are bruised, what miracle heals us? When we see beauty, what miracle elevates us? When we hear music, what miracle moves us?
When we see suffering, what miracle saddens us? When we give and receive love, what miracle warms us? When we pray, what miracle renews us?
Every springtime is a miracle. Every snowflake is a miracle. The thoughts we think, the words we speak, the hopes we cherish, each is a miracle.
For all these miracles, may your name be exalted and blessed forever and ever. On page 28, looking for Miguel Texera to come on up and lead us responsively.
Bold. Our God, we know there is no greater gift than peace. Help us to find the peace that comes from the love of your Torah.
Inspire us to banish hatred, war, bloodshed, and bigotry.
Help us to establish forever one human family, doing your will in love and peace.
Help us to find peace in ourselves and among all people. O God of peace, bless us with peace.
You have
Given us the power, O God, to bring peace and justice into the world. May we always love peace and pursue it, and love our fellow creatures. Fill us with kindness, wisdom, and love. Then shall we learn to live in peace. Blessed is God, teacher of peace.
Sim shalom.
Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha, sim, shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la la. Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha.
I invite everyone to take a moment of silent prayer, silent meditation, silent reflection, silent communion. What do you hear in that silence? Strange is our situation here on earth. Each of us has come for a short visit, not knowing why, yet sometimes seeming to divine a purpose. From the standpoint of daily life, however, there is one thing we do know, that we are here for the sake of humanity, for the countless unknown souls with whose fates we are connected by a bond of sympathy. Many times a day, I realize how my own outer and inner life is built on the labors of my fellow human beings, both living and dead, and how earnestly I must exert myself in order to give and return as much as I have received and am still receiving. On page 31, we have what is dubbed the parent blessing. These are words as sort of a mashup, an amalgamation from the Talmud. The sages of the Talmud, as wise as they were also parents. These are words taken from these great wisdom cornerstones. And today you pass them on to your son.
May you live to see your world fulfilled. May your destiny be for worlds still to come. And may you trust in generations past and yet to be. May your heart be filled with intuition, and your words be filled with insight. May songs of praise ever be upon your tongue, and your vision be on a straight path before you. May your eyes shine with the light of holy words, and your face reflect the brightness of the heavens. May your lips ever speak wisdom, and your fulfillment be in righteousness. A Jewish home opens its heart, and its link to the generations is proclaimed. Today, our child nearly grown is called to read from the Torah and is welcomed into the congregation. May this moment be blessed.
Hug, hug, kiss, kiss.
With all of this love, we move into our Torah service, which can be found on page 32. I'd like to invite the congregation to rise, and I'm going to invite several groups of people to gather by our choir microphone. We will invite our honorary ark openers today, Joey Kammerer and Reef Simantov, and our honorary Torah undressers, Josh Greenberg and Monsi Cranman, and grandparents Sam and Pat Satowitz. Please come forward near our choir mic. And I ask also that Rafa and Vonda and Gary go ahead and open up our ark. And we will join together at the bottom of page 32. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Udevar Adonai Mirushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Le'amo Yisrael B'Kedushato. So, in a moment, Gary, I'm going to invite you to pick up the Torah. And we are standing here at one of the heights of our tefillah service, our prayer service. And this idea of Torah, of course, doesn't just come to us from our modern times, Rafa. This idea of Torah, our Torah has been passed down the door vador, just as we sang a few minutes ago, from generation to generation to generation. So in a moment when I invite your dad to pass you the Torah, I want you to imagine all of those generations going back and back and back and back, all the way to Abraham and Sarah, filling up this room with joy. And of course, we have here today your grandparents, Sam and Pat, and also watching via streaming our Facebook Live, we have your grandmother, Albertina Marks, who is streaming all the way from Portugal, if I'm right. And of course, shining down on all of you in spirit is Fernando Texera. And I know that they are just all filled with such joy at this amazing moment, occasion. So Gary, if you will, go ahead and pick up the Torah. And Vonda, you're going to give it a little touch and kiss first before you pass it along to Rafa. Beautiful. And now, Gary, you're going to pass it to Rafa. Excellent. And Rafa, you're going to turn and face the congregation, and you're going to hang on to that Torah, because in just a moment we're going to chant a few prayers together, and then Rabbi is going to guide you for our Hakafah. We join together on the top of page 33 in Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadol Adonai Iti, Uneromima Shema Yachdav. Follow the rabbi. Lecha Adonai Hagedula, V'Hagevura, V'Hatiferet, V'Hanetza, V'Hahod. Ki hu b'shamayim uvaret, Ki hu b'shamayim uvaret. Lecha Adonai Hamelacha, V'Hamidnaseh, V'chol Rosh. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'ishtachavu Lecha Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'ishtachavu Lecha Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu Adonai Eloheinu As we keep singing, I invite the Name Mitzvah family to undress our Torah. Yai lai 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 ya lai 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 ya lai 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 ya lai 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 ya lai lai ya lai lai ya lai 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 ya lai 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 ya Gary, if you would, help to take the cover off of the Torah. And Rafa's siblings, Ivana and Mila and Zachary, if you would go ahead and close our ark. And Gary, you can put the Torah on the podium. And once our ark is closed, I invite everybody to be seated. And our honors, thank you so much. Please be seated as well.
So in a moment, Rafa is going to be chanting from Parsha Re'eh, which you'll find on page 1417 in your plouts, which are the blue books, the thick blue books underneath your seat. If you want to follow along, that's page 1417 in your plouts. So I would imagine that some of you, maybe even most of you, perhaps even all of you, have been to a bar or bat mitzvah before. I don't want you to underestimate just how hard it is to do what Rafa is about to do, which is to chant in the original without any accent marks or vowels. The Torah. This is work that has taken not months but years to prepare for. And this is perhaps the central part of the becoming, the idea of Rafa going from boyhood to manhood. The aliyot that are going to be called, they get credit for Rafa's work up until the last aliyah, his maftir. At that point, Rafa will be called up by a special trope in his Hebrew name, and that will mark the occasion that he does become a bar mitzvah.
For the honor of our first aliyah, we call brother and sister Zachary and Mila Sadowitz. Come on up and stand next to...
You guys can go right up there.
Yep, that's just fine. Ya'amdu Zachariah ben Gershon, Mila bat Rachel la'aliyah laTorah.
Baruch Hu Adonai HaMvorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachal banu mikol ha'amim v'natan לנו Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Re'eh anochi noten lifnechem hayom bracha uklala et habracha asher tismeun el mitzvot Adonai Elohechem asher anochi mitzaveh etchem hayom v'haklala la imel tismeun el mitzvot Adonai Elohechem v'sartem min haderech asher anochi mitzaveh etchem hayom Lalechet acharei Elohim Harim Asher lo yadetem.
Yasher Koach and Zachary and Mila, whenever you're ready.
Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Hugs and kisses for your brother. And as you make your way back to your seat, we call to our choir mic, Boba and Zeta, Sam and Pat Sadowitz. Ya'amdu Shmuel ben Aaron, Chana ben Abraham, La'aliyah la Torah.
So you're going to write to the choir mics. There you go. Perfect.
Where do we go? This one.
And the blessings before and after are found on page 34.
Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamavarach.
Baruch Adonai.
Baruch Adonai barak le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'chabanu mikol ha'amim lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'hayeh ki yivacheh Adonai Elohecha el haaretz asher ata v'ashama l'rishta v'natata et habaracha el har gerizim v'et haklala el har eval halohema be'eved hayarden Acharei derech mevo hashemesh be'aretz haknaani hayoshev be'arava mul hagilgal eitzel elunei moreh ki atem ovrim et hayarden levo lareshet et haaretz asher Adonai Elohechem noten lachem Virishtem ota vishavtem ba.
Yasher Koach.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei ha'olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Please be seated. Lots of air hugs and kisses. And for the honor of our third Aliyah, we call up to our Torah proud parents, Vonda and Gary. Ya'amdu Neshama ben Avraham, Gershon ben Shmuel la'aliyah la Torah.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamavarach.
Baruch Adonai hamavarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai
Baruch le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'chabanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Ushmartem la'asot et kol hachukim ve'et hamishpatim asher anochi noten lifnechem hayom. Eile hachukim ve'hamishpatim asher tismerun la'asot ba'aretz asher natan Adonai Elohei avotecha lecha l'rishta kol hayamim asher ata chayim el ha'adama ebed te'abedun et kol hamekomot asher avdu sham hagoyim asher ata yarshim atem et Elohehem el haramim ve'el hagvuot ve'tachat kol eitz ra'anan.
Yasher Koach.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Hugs and kisses. Very good. So, Rafa, like we talked about on Thursday, you're going to leave your yad on the Torah. Very good. And then once it's on the Torah, Rafa, you're going to have a seat over on, sit over on this side so Rabbi and I can see you. Very good. So why are you sitting down when you have one more aliyah to go before you are officially a bar mitzvah? I'm going to tell you. So in a moment, I'm going to call you up to the bima. We call this aliyah in Hebrew. It means to ascend. So literally, you're going to rise up and you're going to physically demonstrate that ascending to our Torah, but also, really what you're doing, Rafa, is you are ascending to higher and deeper spiritual level. You are moving from for lack of a better word, a kid, a young, on the precipice of teenager into a fully active, participatory member of our congregation, a Jewish adult in the eyes of our community. And so in doing so, in elevating yourself, you also elevate everybody in this room, everybody who is watching from all over the world. So it's my honor to call you up to the bima as an official bar mitzvah. Yamdu Yamud Habachur Habar Mitzvah Raphael ben Gershon La'aliyah Torah. And you're going to offer the blessing before the Torah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Chant your fourth aliyah.
V'nitatztem et mizbechotam v'shibartchem et matzevotam ve'ashirehem tisrafun ba'esh ufsilei Elohehem tigadeun ve'ibadtem et hashmam min hamakom hahu lo te'asun kain l'Adonai Elohechem ki imel hamakom asher yivchar Adonai Elohechem mikol shivtechem lashum et shmo sham l'shichno tidreshu uvata shama.
Great.
Beautiful. And offer the blessing after the Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chaye olam natan b'tochenu, Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Wonderful. Okay. Mom and Dad, keep putting a hand on his shoulder like that. I'm going to ask the congregation to rise. Rafa, with the open Torah having just completed your Torah reading, we're going to offer you a special Misha Berach blessing. And this one is for your continued spiritual development. The hope is, the idea is that you'll use today as a spiritual cornerstone, meaning you'll always be able to find your way back to it, but also push off of it to go wherever it is that you're going to go. And now with the open Torah, we'll do it in Hebrew and in English. We offer you as a congregation this blessing. Mishaberach avotenu v'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah, hu yivarech et Raphael ben Gerson, shehagia lemitzvot la'ala l'Torah. Hakadosh Baruch Hu yismeirehu v'chayehu, v'chonon et libo liot shalem im Adonai Elohav. L'hagopa Torato la'lecha bidrachav v'lishmor mitzvotav v'yimsechen v'seichel tov v'nei Elohim v'adam v'nomar. Amen. May God, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless you, Raphael, who's come up for an aliyah upon the age of mitzvot. May the Holy One guard you and sustain you, helping you to be wholehearted in your faith, studying God's Torah, walking in God's ways, and fulfilling God's mitzvot. May you, Rafa, find favor before God and all people, and we say, Amen. Okay, and we can be seated. Unless your name is Josh Greenberg and Monty Cranman, and then I want you just to keep standing up for a second. Okay, Gary, you're going to roll the Torah up. Vonnie, you'll help. Okay, and you're going to put the whipple on it, which is the little white, there you go. Okay, you can just drape the Torah cover over it. There you go. That's fine. Perfect. 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 Okay. Thank you. Josh and Monty, you can sit. Thank you so much. Okay. And then Mom and Dad, at this point, take a step back or have a seat for a moment, because we are going to have Rafa give us his Devar Torah. Devar Torah is a drash. It's a sermonette. This is the way that Rafa has taken what he has chanted, interpreted through the unique crystal or diamond that is him, and the light that shines forth, of course, is unique to him as well. So Rafa, will you share some words with us?
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
My Torah portion is Re'eh, which is in Devarim, the book of Deuteronomy. In Parshat Re'eh, God presents blessings and curses and commands us to follow his mitzvot. God's curse is when you don't listen to his blessings and instead follow after false gods and idols. God then tells us to go into the land of Canaan and tells us to possess the land that he has given us. He then tells us to observe all the statutes and laws that he gives us until we pass away. Finally, God commands us to almost obliterate anybody who doesn't believe in him. He tells us to dispossess their gods, destroy their pillars, break their altars, and burn their sacred trees. He then tells us not to do to him as we have done to other gods. I think what God wanted the Israelites to do would be wrong with other circumstances. When I first read through the Parsha, I thought that God was being wrong and selfish by wanting all the other gods to be destroyed. But after meeting with the rabbi and learning more outside my Parsha, I learned that what the other gods were doing was wrong. I learned that for one of the gods people worshipped, Baal, one way they would worship him was by sacrificing baby children by burning them alive on the tongue of a metal statue. I understand what God is doing, and I think he made the right choice. I don't think that it is wrong to follow other gods or religions. We live in a world where it's okay to be Christian, Hindu, Muslim, Jewish, and other religions. In this world, it's okay to not even believe in a religion. I think that's okay. But there is a problem with a certain type of religions, polytheism, where you have multiple gods, so that instead of one, there'd be many. And what if I went and asked one god to kill someone and they say no, and then I go to a different god and they say, yeah, I can kill him? Then does it make it okay to kill that person? With monotheism, there's only one God and his word is final. This lesson is important to me because I always try to see the good that people can do, not the bad. I think it's important to be able to see through everyone with an open heart and not judge them based on what you've been told. I also think that this is a lesson that should be important to everybody's lives, because if everyone could be nicer to people before they know them, the world would be a much better place. I think the world should follow this example. Becoming a bar mitzvah means that I am now an adult in the Jewish community. To me, this means that I have to participate in work and activities that the adults do, but it also means that I now have a deeper connection and understanding of Judaism and a more meaningful connection with God. It means that I have a new responsibility to inspire others, participate in the synagogue, help with duties around my house, and much more. Once I become a bar mitzvah, I'll be joining Papa and my older brother Zach as a man in the house. When I become an adult in the Jewish community, I plan to stay with Temple Emanu-El and be a good role model to my peers and younger people who look up to me. Once I become a bar mitzvah, now I want to help my parents more during big Jewish holidays and enjoy the ruach of these holy days. Now that I am a man, I have experienced reading the Torah and being pulled into stories and teachings of the Torah. I want to share that with others. The most important Jewish value for me is giving tzedakah, because there are many, many ways you can give tzedakah. I like how you can give tzedakah through money, listening to people, helping people, and doing much more. I think it's the most important because everybody can give tzedakah no matter who you are. Tzedakah to me is important because it can change someone's life and make people's lives better. The state of Israel is an important place for all Jews and all people. Israel is a safe space for Jews where we can all practice Judaism peacefully. I want to be able to go to Israel and build a connection to the people and culture and the family I have there. For now, my connection to Israel is in my heart because God is in my heart. Here in Atlanta, it might not be Israel, but we bring our feelings and connections to Israel here. And what matters is how we can share these special moments with each other. Israel may be the land that God gave us, but its people that share the light and memory of the Torah is the most important. I may have done a lot of work, but I would never have been able to do it without so many people who helped me. First, I want to thank all the rabbis, Cantor Lauren, and my tutor Joanne for teaching me through everything. I thank my family for their love and support through the whole process. Boba and Zeta, you're the best. Thank you for all the calls and letting me play piano for you. I love all of it. Vovô Fernando, I think about you all the time. I miss the time we spent together, but I loved every second you were with me. I love you so much. Vava, I don't know what I would do without the bom dias or I love yous you send me, even though we haven't seen each other in a while. Your messages make me feel a bit closer to you. Tia Chrissy, or should I say Tia Quissy, thank you for being an amazing Tia, and on top of that, being an amazing godmother. You're always in my heart, and now I'm finally going to be able to make the long-awaited trip to London. Love you. To you, Tim, I can't tell you how much your message last night meant to me. We haven't seen each other in person since BVI, but I still think about the time we did spend together. I can't wait to make even more memories together. To you, Migs, where do we even start? It's been amazing having you in the house for so long. I must be the luckiest nephew in the world. Even though you're leaving so soon, I want you to know you are my Tiu and I love you. To all of my uncles and aunts, I enjoy spending time with you all. Thank you all for the cousins. I spend a lot of time with them and I have great fun. Brenzi, you may be in heaven now, but I know you are still with me, watching over me. I love you so much. Ivana, you're the best little sister anyone could ask for. You've always helped me, whether it's doing the dishes or spending time with me. Love you lots. Zach, it's been amazing to spend time with you, seeing as you've been in the house for a while now. I'm so glad that even though you're always traveling around for school and work, you still always make time to come home to us. Besides, it's great to have a doctor in the house. Mila, I'm glad you came to spend time with the family. I'm still trying to get something together so I can one day soon come visit you in Houston. You are the best big sister anyone could ask for. Thanks for bringing Garrett into the family. It was getting boring winning every single game of Mario Kart. Papa, I love you so much. I love the time we spend together, whether it's on the golf course, doing my work with me, or letting me help you with whatever project you're working on in the garage. I love it all. You're one of my biggest, if not the biggest, inspiration. For me. Mama, I don't know what I would do without you. You help me with everything. I love going to your work and being able to see you. I love all the reminders that you give me to help lead me in the right direction and to remember who I really am. And I love the movies we watch together. Did I say everything? I really mean it. Even now, past 3 hours before my bar mitzvah, you were helping me write without being super logical and done, and more with my heart. You're the best. I love you. Before I forget, thank you to Mama's friends at the Vanda House for letting her and helping her making everything today possible. Last but not least, I want to thank all of my ancestors who have come to participate in this momentous accomplishment in my life. I hope all of you that are here today can take a moment to create for yourself your own insight. Thank you all for coming. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So clearly, we've just heard from a young man, and Rafa, thank you for your words and your wisdom and your groundedness and your inspiration. We really, really appreciate it and appreciate you. I'm going to ask Zoe Simantov and Sarah Greenberg to stand up in their place. And I'm going to ask Rafa, your 3 siblings, to go on up to the ark. Friends, we all can rise on page 39 for Eitz Chaim.
Go ahead and open the ark. Eitz Chaim hi lamachazikim ba v'tomechecha meushar derachecha darchei noam v'chol tivotzecha shalom. Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chadesh Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem.
And we close the ark. Everyone can be seated. Rafa, this is where Kenter and I get to say some nice things about you. And we've said it before at just about every bar and bat mitzvah that we do, but it's worth repeating. Of all the things that we get to do as clergy here at Emanu-El, including high holidays, which are coming up soon, ruckus Shabbat services, weddings, baby namings, our most favorite thing is what we've been doing with you the last couple months. And that is getting to know you at a pretty deep level. Having deep conversations, getting to know who you are, and also studying what's called Torah Lishma, Torah for the sake of higher thought, higher thinking. So there's a couple things, Rafa, that I could share, and I guess I'll mention them. The first time I really got to spend time with you is when you and your dad came to the food distribution over in Sandy Springs, where it was a hot day and we're hauling food from the truck over to the tables and then helping to distribute it to our neighbors who need a hand. And I saw how you conducted yourself, and not the easiest of situations, and you were confident, and you had a certain centeredness to you, and clearly your dad was encouraging you, but there's other kids there, older kids, and you just got right in there doing a mitzvah, doing a good deed, and I really appreciated that. our time together, I mean, clearly anybody who knows Rafa knows that he's deep, and he's kind, and he's thoughtful and smart. When we were studying the Torah portion, Rafa, and we got to the part, there's some disturbing things in your Torah portion, right? There's some things that don't sit well with our modern sensitivities. And I appreciated on one of your drafts that I can't say it another way, you sort of gave it to God, right? Like, how could God have asked that and done that? And then when I presented you with some of the context, you thought it through, and you said, okay, I understand why it says that, and I don't agree with sort of the general principle, but in these particular instances of immorality, right, or relative morality, that everything can be excused if you ask enough deities, right, whether the deities are Baal or El, or their fame, fortune, power, and greed, right? You look hard enough, you're going to get permission for anything. And here we have a religion that says, actually, no, there is such thing as right and wrong. There is such thing as right and wrong. To the nth degree, that becomes fanaticism. But in moderation, a certain amount of moderation, the idea that there is right or wrong is very important. And you took to that. And then probably the prime memory I have of leading up to this moment is when your mom called me a couple weeks ago. And your mom and I have had some great interactions over the last couple months. I see where you get your positive energy from. Your mom is like a runaway truck of positive energy, right? And your mom's, there's things that are happening with COVID that we keep on having to change what we're allowed to do and what not allowed to do. And the fact that we're back to wearing masks, is really heartbreaking. And the way that we had set up the service was that we weren't going to be doing Hakafot from the Bima, okay? And your mom called me up and she said, look, Rafa has come to me and he said, in his mind, the way that he pictures this bar mitzvah is that there's a Hakafah and that he's taking the Torah into the congregation. And can we do it? And the short answer was not really, because of all the rules that are in place, but that really stuck with me. One, that your mom, and I had that conversation. It was important to her. Why? Because it was so important to you. I thought, what 13-year-old kid has his heart set on this one particular piece of ritual? And if it was that central in your vision of how this day was going to be, then we were going to figure out a way to do it if we could, and we did. And I hope that it fulfilled your expectation of what you were looking for. So my wish for you, my young friend, is that you continue challenging and pushing envelopes, staying true to who you are, but also being open enough to learn and change as need be, that you have visions of how ritual can improve your life, and that you take the Torah, proverbial Torah that you are learning and continue to learn, and take it out into not just the congregation, but the world. That is on one foot what the Jewish mission's been since the beginning of time as we know it, and you certainly demonstrated it today. So keep doing that. We're here to help you, and I look forward to much, much more together.
Rafa, I have this very clear memory of when I first met you, because it was at Monsi's bar mitzvah. And here's this kid, and it was so heartbreaking because we're all wearing masks. And there's this kid hanging out in the sanctuary while I'm taking Monsi through everything. Hi, what's your name? Oh, I'm Rafa. And did not make the connection. Right following the service, I got to talk to your mom. And I hadn't really connected that you were her son. But I felt like this amazing energy. Rabbi spoke about it. And then, I think it was a couple months later, there you were on my computer screen, and we were getting you started for your bar mitzvah. And not only did we have such a great conversation about what it means to work towards this moment, But we talked about something that you and I have in common, which is music. And I happened to mention to you, oh, my favorite composer is Beethoven. And you said, oh, I think it was mine too, or something. And I said, oh, my favorite piece is the Moonlight Sonata. And then before I knew it, you were at your piano playing the whole first movement, which is probably one of my most favorite pieces of all time. And what I loved about that moment was your grace in sharing your talent, but even more so, you could really hear your soul as you were playing. You put your soul into your music. And it's very clear today also that you put your soul into all of the work and the moving parts that brought you right here to this day, to your becoming a bar mitzvah. So my blessing for you, my charge for you, is that you continue to freely put your soul into all that you do. And when you do that, not only will you connect with whatever it is that you are taking on, but you will also bring others into that connection as well. Mazel tov.
So now Cantor and I get to bless you in the way that clergy have been doing with our youth since the beginning of time. I'll ask everyone to stand as we impart to you the priestly benediction.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
May God's countenance shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God's face turn towards you, Rapha, and grant you the greatest gift of all, which you've got right here, surrounded by family and community, Torah and history, destiny and connection, all in this moment revolving around you, a sense of wholeness, completeness, and peace. And we say, Amen. Everyone can be seated, unless you are Rapha's parents, and then I'm going to have you come on up. And you'll take the handheld mic and say what you'd like to say.
So Rafa, your mother and I wanted to say a few words to you. Mommy wanted to go first, but I said, no way, I want my time. So, today's has been phenomenal. I was excited about it, but I didn't know how it would feel through the event and through the simcha. But my heart is full, my heart is overflowing, and I just want to let you know the young man that you've become. Now, there's a picture of me holding you the day you were born, and you sat in my arms for 4 hours while you were just looking, and your eyes just looking up at me. And from that day, we've had a bond. And as you've grown through the different stages of your life, I've watched you becoming a wonderful young person. And I know most people say that about their children, but you are that special young man. You're kind, you're considerate, you consider others. I've never heard you speak harshly about anybody else. If someone's doing something that's not right, you'll stand up against bullies. And when we went to school, when there was a bully, you went out back and had a fight, and that would sort it out. You don't have that anymore. So for you to go and stand up against somebody in today's day and age is remarkable. I was very proud of you. So your music, the way you are with people, just makes us very proud. And I know, one of the funny things for me is when I have a conversation with Rafa, I always wonder what he's going to say, because he comes with like these deep thought processed words and just comes from a different perspective. And you're an old soul, so even though I'm older than you, I still learn from you. And so just keep doing what you're doing, grow the way you want to grow, but do the right things. Stay on your path. I love you.
So, Rafa, I think I've been crying for the last couple of months about today. And for the first time in my life, I don't have any words in my mind. There is no message here for you. There is just this absolute recognition and honor of how blessed I am that you chose me. I think the words are actually for me that I need to step up and be firm with you, from heart to heart and soul to soul, because I cannot deny who you are. And I met you before you were born, and you were clear to me that your name was going to be Raphael and that you were going to be Jewish. And there I packed my bags and became Jewish. I was on a mission. I was going to do what I was supposed to come and do. But when I heard you in my tummy and we play that music so loud through all of our house, and Zach dancing the Almaty, I knew something was cooking. All right. I love you. Stay true. And I don't have to tell you to stay true to your heart. I'm going to stay true to my heart and do the best that I can in every possible way. And I will fight and honor the greatest space to bring the greatest teachers, like a Shirley, who's beyond magnificent, where she will come and do and bring the things to help you become a master, and to bring the right rabbis to awaken your Judaism and your passage of right. Because when it comes to family, you've got it taken care of. You're smart, you're intelligent, and I'm super blessed and honored to see who you are every day of my life. I love you.
I invite everyone to rise, and Ivana, will you come on up and lead the ark opening with Zach and Mila as we join with Elenu on page 40.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, latit gidula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech, malchei ha'mlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'ne'emar, v'haya Adonai, l'melech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
Close the ark. Okay, siblings join Rafa at the bima, and everyone can be seated. We are in our final lap of our service. And Rafa Cantor talked about the generations who are lining this sanctuary, watching you and here with pride, and we believe with a smile, for what you are doing today, and you're leading us and who you've become. Your family, at this time of joy, remembers with kavod, honor and respect, Fernando Texera, Brenda Dobrin, and Fern Simantov. For those who are here either in person or online, if you are in the Shloshim period of mourning, the first 30 days of a loved one's passing, we ask you to rise now and be recognized. Please remain standing. If you're in the first year of mourning, a loved one's passing, we ask you to rise now and be recognized. Remain standing. If you are commemorating the yahrzeit, the death anniversary of a loved one's passing this Shabbat, please rise now. And if it is your custom to rise either in solidarity or for those who have no one to say Kaddish for them, please do so now. Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 41. Yit Gadal, V'yit Kadash Shmei Rabbah, V'yalma Divrach Hiroteh, V'yamlich Machoteh, V'chayechon, V'yomechon, V'chayedecho Beit Yisrael, V'galav Yizman Kari V'imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mivarach Le'olam Olamei Almaya. Yit Barach, V'yishtabach, V'yit Pa'ar, V'yit Roman, V'yit Naseh. Vita Dar, Vita Le, Vita La, Shmei Dukucha, Barichu, La'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tush B'charta V'nechamata, Dami Rambe Ama V'imru, Amen. Hei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru, Amen. Osei Shalom B'imru Mav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru, Amen.
Oseh Shalom, B'imromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'yimeru, Amen. Oseh Shalom, Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'yimeru, Amen.
Okay, for those who are sitting, if you'll rise now, and family, if you'll shift to the left to our Havdalah set. Havdalah is our ritual to close out Shabbat. We start Shabbat by lighting candles. We end Shabbat by lighting the Havdalah candle, which, if you look closely at it, isn't really a candle, it's a torch. It's made up of either 5 or 6 individual candles, much like Rapha's family. Individuals who come together like a family or a community, and by mingling their intention, their heat, their flame rises even higher together. We bring our whole beings into Havdalah, our sight, sound, taste, touch, hearing, and in doing so, a piece of Shabbat into the week to come. Please join us.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la la la. We bless the wine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen, borei peri hagafen. We bless the spices. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei minei v'samim, borei minei v'samim.
Take a sniff.
We bless the flame. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei lechol, hamavdil ben kodesh lechol.
We extinguish the Havdalah candle into the wine.
Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol, chatotenu hu yimcho, zar'enu v'chaspenu yarbech hachol, v'chakochavim alayla.
Shavua Tov, 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 Shavua Tov. Eliyahu HaNavi, Eliyahu HaTishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu
HaGiladi.
Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov. Elanu, 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 U'Bechol Yisrael. Elanu, Elanu, U'Bechol Yisrael. Elanu, Elanu, U'Bechol Yisrael. Elanu, Elanu, U'Bechol Yisrael. Mazel Tov, everybody. Shavua Tov.